"Max, stop it! There is nothing under there!" Emma shouted, jumping off her bed in frustration. Her dog, Max, a lively golden retriever, had been scratching and whining insistently at the space beneath her bed for the past half hour. Emma had barely gotten home from her job at the local library in their small, sleepy town of Willowbrook, and all she wanted was some peace and quiet. But peace was apparently not on Max's agenda tonight. Max wagged his tail anxiously, refusing to back away from his spot. He barked again, a clear sign he wasn't giving up this time. Emma sighed deeply, pushing her dark blonde hair away from her eyes. She got down on her knees, ready to prove to her beloved but overly dramatic dog that nothing sinister lurked beneath her comfortable queen-sized bed. "Okay, fine. You win," she conceded, lowering herself to peer into the dimness beneath the mattress. She squinted her eyes, scanning the dusty darkness. Nothing. Just as she'd expected. But then, just as Emma was about to pull back, she saw movement. She froze. A small pair of frightened eyes stared back at her, reflecting the glow from the bedside lamp. Emma felt her heart leap into her throat as she pulled away quickly, adrenaline surging through her veins. She sprang to her feet, her hands shaking. "Max! What was that?" Max whined gently and pressed his nose softly into her trembling hand, his eyes large and comforting. Taking a deep breath, Emma steadied herself, realizing that whatever was hiding underneath her bed was probably more scared of her than she was of it. Gathering her courage, she knelt again and took another careful look. "Hello?" she called softly, using the same gentle voice she reserved for calming down frightened children at the library's weekly story time. "It's okay. You can come out." Slowly, timidly, a tiny, shivering creature moved forward from the shadows. Emma gasped in astonishment as a little puppy, dirty and clearly hungry, crawled out from beneath the bed. The pup's coat was matted and muddy, but beneath the dirt, its eyes shone with hope and vulnerability. Emma immediately felt a deep compassion stirring within her. "Oh, you poor thing," she whispered tenderly, reaching her hand out cautiously toward the puppy. It sniffed hesitantly at first, then seemed to trust her instinctively, nudging her palm with a small pink nose. Max, who'd been silently observing the whole encounter, wagged his tail excitedly and moved closer, gently licking the little pup, reassuring it that it was safe. Emma picked up the puppy carefully, cradling it against her chest. It trembled briefly, then sighed in relief, nestling into her warmth. She felt her heart swell with affection and a fierce protectiveness. Max had sensed something important and hadn't let it go. And now Emma understood why. "Looks like you found yourself a little sibling," she told Max with a warm laugh, giving his head an affectionate scratch. Max barked joyfully in agreement, clearly pleased with himself. Emma knew right then she couldn't leave this puppy abandoned. Emma spent the next hour gently bathing the puppy, washing away the grime to reveal soft, golden fur that matched Max's own. As she dried the small animal, she could see that beneath its frail exterior, there was strength and determination. The puppy wagged its tail shyly at Max, who sat patiently nearby, already adopting the role of protective older brother. "Well, little one," Emma murmured softly as she prepared a bowl of food, "I suppose we should find out where you came from, shouldn't we?" Max watched closely, his eyes filled with kindness and curiosity. Emma smiled warmly at her beloved dog, feeling grateful for his unwavering companionship. It wasn't the quiet evening she'd planned, but she found herself strangely excited about the unexpected adventure that lay ahead. The library could wait. This moment felt like the beginning of something beautiful, and Emma was ready to embrace it fully. As the little puppy ate hungrily, Emma contemplated what her next step would be. Tomorrow, she'd ask around town, maybe even put up some flyers. She couldn't imagine that someone wasn't desperately looking for such an adorable puppy. Yet, deep down, a part of her hoped no one would come forward. The puppy had already begun to find its place in their small household, fitting seamlessly alongside Max, who seemed delighted by their new addition. "Max," Emma smiled gently, "I think this little one might be exactly what we needed." Max thumped his tail against the wooden floor, clearly in agreement. Emma felt a surge of joy she hadn't experienced in months. Maybe, just maybe, her playful, loving golden retriever had sensed something far more significant under the bed than she'd initially realized: hope, companionship, and the beautiful unplanned moments that made life truly special. Tonight, beneath her ordinary bed, something extraordinary had quietly begun. The next morning dawned bright and clear over Willowbrook, sunlight pouring through Emma's lace curtains, casting cheerful patterns across her bedroom walls. Emma awoke feeling an immediate jolt of excitement, recalling the events from the previous night. She turned her head slightly to see Max curled up comfortably at the foot of her bed, his golden coat glowing warmly in the morning light. Beside him, nestled closely, lay the small puppy, fast asleep with gentle breaths arising and falling rhythmically. Emma felt her heart soften instantly, marveling at how quickly the little newcomer had settled into their lives. "All right, Max, up and at 'em," Emma said quietly, gently nudging her dog awake. Max opened one eye, yawned deeply, then rolled lazily onto his back, stretching his paws high into the air. The puppy, sensing movement, quickly jumped awake, blinking sleepily and looking around as if momentarily confused by its surroundings. "Good morning, you two," Emma said cheerfully, sliding her feet into fluffy slippers and rising to her feet. "First things first, breakfast." Emma made her way downstairs, the two dogs trailing happily behind her. In the kitchen, she prepared bowls of food, Max's familiar meal, and a smaller portion of puppy food she'd luckily found at the back of the pantry from when she'd dog-sat for her neighbor's puppy months ago. As both dogs eagerly ate, Emma sipped her coffee, contemplating how best to approach the day. Her first plan was clear. She'd need to take the little puppy to the local veterinarian, Dr. Sandra Harper, for a quick checkup. She trusted Sandra completely and knew she'd offer the best advice. After breakfast, Emma clipped leashes onto both Max and the puppy, who trotted proudly alongside Max, mimicking his every move. As they walked through the quiet streets of Willowbrook, people smiled and waved, familiar faces brightening at the sight of the tiny new addition. "Emma, who's your new friend there?" called Mrs. Gladys, the kindly older woman who ran the local bakery. She hurried out of her shop, wiping flour-covered hands onto her apron. "We're not exactly sure yet," Emma replied, laughing softly as the puppy wagged its tail enthusiastically at the older woman's gentle touch. "This little one appeared unexpectedly last night. I'm on my way to see Sandra now." "Well, it seems your Max approves," Mrs. Gladys said warmly, patting Max affectionately. At Dr. Harper's clinic, the puppy sat patiently on the examination table, slightly nervous but comforted by Max, who rested his chin reassuringly on the edge of the table. Sandra smiled gently, expertly examining the pup. Aside from being slightly underweight and needing some vaccinations, this little pup is surprisingly healthy, Dr. Harper informed Emma reassuringly. "Looks like this little sweetheart found exactly the right home. Have you thought of a name yet?" "Not yet," Emma admitted, glancing at Max, who seemed entirely focused on the puppy. "I want something that feels right." Well, take your time, Sandra said warmly, and let me know if you need anything else. Feeling relieved, Emma decided her next stop would be the town's community bulletin board near the library to post a found puppy notice. Yet, as she pinned up the flyer, an odd mix of dread and hope filled her chest. She'd grown surprisingly attached already, and the idea of someone claiming the puppy was suddenly harder than she'd anticipated. Back at home, Emma spent the afternoon tidying the house, with Max and the puppy playfully romping through the living room, scattering toys everywhere. As Emma dusted the shelves, her mind wandered to possible names. What about Daisy? Or Scout? Maybe even Willow? She wondered aloud. Each suggestion seemed charming, yet nothing quite felt perfect. That evening, as Emma prepared dinner, a loud knock echoed from the front door, causing her heart to jump. Had someone already come to claim the puppy? Her stomach tightened anxiously as she opened the door, only to find her younger brother, Alex, grinning broadly. "Surprise visit," Alex laughed, stepping inside and immediately greeting Max with vigorous pats. He paused abruptly upon spotting the puppy. "Hey, who's this little cutie?" Emma explained the situation, and Alex instantly knelt, engaging playfully with the pup. "Well," Alex teased gently, "I can tell you're already in love." "I'm trying not to get too attached," Emma confessed, although her smile betrayed her true feelings. "But it's not easy." Over dinner, Alex filled Emma in on his recent adventures hiking in Colorado, his enthusiasm infectious. By dessert, the puppy had comfortably settled in Alex's lap, sound asleep. "Seems this little pup trusts you too," Emma noted affectionately. "Maybe it's destiny," Alex suggested casually, stroking the puppy's soft ears gently. Emma smiled softly, feeling more hopeful than ever. Destiny or not, she knew the days ahead would bring changes, challenges, and plenty of adventures. But she felt ready for it all. Watching Max resting contentedly beside Alex, she was struck by the peace she felt in her heart, realizing how beautifully full her small home had become. Later that night, as Emma lay awake, thoughts swirling gently, she was startled by a gentle whimpering. Sitting up, she saw Max pacing near her closet, sniffing cautiously. With mild curiosity, Emma approached slowly, opening the closet door carefully. She gasped softly, heart racing once more. Inside, lying atop a pile of her favorite sweaters, was another tiny puppy, identical to the first, eyes wide with uncertainty. Emma turned slowly toward Max, who simply wagged his tail innocently, clearly pleased by this new development. With a sigh mixed with amused resignation, Emma gently lifted the second pup into her arms. "Max," she said, laughter bubbling from deep within her chest. "I think our adventure is only just beginning." Emma stared in disbelief at the second tiny puppy, now nestled comfortably in her arms, its small frame warm and surprisingly calm. Her mind spun with unanswered questions as she gently cradled the new arrival, the mystery deepening with every passing moment. Max stood proudly at her side, tail wagging briskly, clearly unfazed by the surprise discovery. "Max," Emma whispered, trying to sound stern but failing utterly. "Exactly how many puppies do you plan on finding hidden in this house?" Max tilted his head innocently, giving a gentle bark as if to assure Emma he had everything under control. Emma took the new puppy downstairs to the kitchen, gently placing it beside the first pup, who immediately sniffed its sibling with obvious recognition. The two tiny creatures quickly began to nuzzle each other affectionately, tails wagging rapidly. Watching them interact, Emma felt her heart swell even further. Okay, this changes things, she murmured to herself, pulling out her phone to text Alex. Looks like you left too soon. Max found another one. Alex's response was immediate and filled with amused emojis. Maybe he's part retriever, part detective. Emma laughed softly, shaking her head. At this rate, he might just be. The next morning, with both puppies and Max in tow, Emma revisited Dr. Harper. The veterinarian's eyes widened in surprise upon seeing Emma again so soon. Emma, at this rate, you'll have a full litter before week's end, she joked good-naturedly, beginning the checkup on the newest member. Honestly, Sandra, I'm starting to wonder myself, Emma confessed, gently stroking Max, who sat protectively near the puppies. This little one's healthy too, Sandra reported warmly. They're clearly from the same litter, probably abandoned or lost together. Emma nodded, thoughtful. I suppose that means we need to widen the search. Someone must be missing these pups. On her way home, Emma stopped by Willowbrook's Cozy Diner, a favorite meeting spot for locals. The pups instantly attracted attention, quickly surrounded by cooing admirers. Looks like you're starting a dog shelter, teased Luke, a friendly waiter who'd grown up alongside Emma. Feels that way, Emma laughed lightly, handing him a flyer. If anyone asks, can you share this? Of course, Luke agreed warmly, petting one pup as it licked his hand playfully. But between us, it looks like they're right where they belong. Days passed, blending seamlessly into one another. Emma settled into a new routine of caring for the puppies, noticing how quickly they grew stronger, playful, and more confident. Their personalities began to emerge distinctly. One energetic and mischievous, the other calm and thoughtful. Max thrived in his new role as their guardian, proudly guiding the pups through the house and yard, teaching them with patience and affection. Still, as days passed with no inquiries, Emma's attachment grew deeper. Each morning she awakened, excited to greet their tiny, wagging tails. She felt guilty for hoping nobody would come forward, yet knew she needed to be fair. On Saturday afternoon, Emma was startled by a phone call from Sandra. Her voice carried an unusual urgency. Emma, there's something I think you should see. Can you stop by the clinic? Emma hurried over, anxiety tingling in her stomach. Sandra awaited her arrival, holding a flyer. This was posted in a nearby town, Woodville. Recognize these pups? Emma studied the photo. 3 small, golden puppies smiling at the camera. 3 puppies. There's another one? Emma asked in shock. Apparently, Sandra nodded seriously. They belong to a family whose dog had puppies, but they disappeared during a storm last week. They're devastated. Woodville isn't exactly close, Emma murmured thoughtfully, feeling torn. How did they end up here? Sandra shrugged slightly. Lost pets sometimes travel far looking for safety, but it seems they were separated. There's still one more out there somewhere. Emma felt a sudden urgency, knowing she had to find the missing sibling. She thanked Sandra and returned home with a renewed sense of purpose. That evening, she and Max explored every corner of their neighborhood, hoping Max's instincts would lead them to the 3rd puppy. As twilight painted the sky with shades of orange and purple, Emma felt exhaustion tug at her, but determination kept her going. Max, too, refused to rest, sniffing diligently along bushes and fence lines. Suddenly, Max paused, his body tense. He sniffed the air intently, pulling Emma toward a small cluster of bushes near Willowbrook Park. Emma felt her pulse quicken. Max, do you smell something? She whispered encouragingly. Max barked softly and dove into the bushes, emerging seconds later with a tiny, trembling golden puppy gently held between his teeth. Emma gasped in relief, taking the scared pup into her arms. "You did it, Max! You found the third one," she said excitedly, hugging Max gratefully. The puppy whimpered softly before relaxing into her comforting hold. Emma hurried home, eager to reunite the litter. As soon as the puppies saw their lost sibling, joyous yelps filled the room. They immediately began wrestling playfully, tails wagging furiously. Emma sat down, heart overflowing with relief and happiness. Still, she knew the task was far from complete. Now, she had to reach out to the person from Woodville who had lost them, a task she found surprisingly difficult. Over the next several days, Emma waited nervously for a response. During this time, she watched the three pups bond with Max, who had become more attentive and gentle, embracing his newfound responsibilities joyfully. The puppies had brightened their home considerably, bringing laughter and endless adventures. When Emma finally received a call from Woodville, she spoke briefly with the pup's owner, a kind, elderly man named Mr. Patterson. His voice was gentle, yet heavy with sadness. "I love them dearly," he admitted, "but I've recently become unable to care for them properly. It breaks my heart, but perhaps it's time they found a home filled with more youthful energy and love." Emma's heart ached for him, understanding the difficulty of his decision. They agreed he'd visit soon to ensure the pups had settled well. Emma found herself anxiously hoping he'd see the love and happiness the puppies had brought into her life, secretly wishing he'd allow her to keep them. Until that meeting, she spent every moment savoring their presence, taking daily walks, playing fetch in the park, and watching as Max guided them through their playful routines. Friends and neighbors became enchanted by the heartwarming story, eager to see the pups thriving. Emma realized each day brought her closer to Mr. Patterson's visit, and she felt determined to show him just how deeply these puppies belonged with her and Max. Yet uncertainty lingered, making each precious moment even more meaningful. As she tucked them into their bed each night, Emma hoped fiercely for their future together, knowing their story was only just unfolding. Emma spent the next few days preparing for Mr. Patterson's visit, her heart fluttering with nervous energy. Every waking moment revolved around ensuring the puppies felt loved, safe, and comfortable. The small home soon overflowed with laughter, barking, and joyful chaos that Emma secretly hoped would never fade. Max had stepped naturally into the role of caretaker, gently teaching the pups the finer points of being well-behaved members of the household. Each morning, Emma watched him proudly guide his small pack through their breakfast routine, patiently waiting while each puppy took turns with their food bowls. She found herself continually amazed at Max's intelligence and kindness, qualities she'd always known he possessed, but had never seen so clearly displayed. Willowbrook, too, seemed enchanted by the puppy's growing presence. Neighbors stopped by regularly, bringing treats, toys, and plenty of advice. At the library, Emma's co-workers eagerly awaited daily updates. Her friend Jenna, who managed the children's reading programs, suggested organizing a special puppy-themed story time at the library. Emma agreed instantly, seeing it as a perfect opportunity to introduce the puppies more broadly and maybe even show Mr. Patterson just how deeply they'd touched the community. The day of the story time arrived bright and sunny, perfect for an outdoor event. Willowbrook's town square bustled with excitement as Emma arrived early, the puppies happily exploring the grassy area, while Max diligently supervised. Families and children began to gather quickly, spreading blankets and eagerly awaiting the start of the event.
"Emma,
This turnout is incredible, Jenna exclaimed, eyes wide with delight. She knelt to pet the puppies, who eagerly greeted each new arrival with enthusiastic tail wags and gentle puppy kisses. Emma smiled warmly, feeling pride and happiness at seeing the puppies bring so much joy. She set up a cozy reading spot beneath a shady oak tree and carefully arranged a collection of favorite dog-themed children's books. As she started to read aloud, the pups instinctively gathered close, snuggling into her lap or curling up at her feet. Max settled protectively beside her, watchful yet relaxed. The afternoon was filled with laughter and applause as children took turns petting and holding the puppies, asking Emma questions about their rescue. Each interaction made Emma's heart swell, reinforcing her growing conviction that these puppies had found their true home. Later, as the crowd began dispersing, Emma noticed an older gentleman slowly approaching, his gentle face partially hidden beneath the brim of a worn hat. Her breath caught slightly as she recognized him immediately from their brief video call. It was Mr. Patterson. He greeted her kindly, his eyes gentle as they fell upon the puppies. "They're even more wonderful in person," he said softly, emotion evident in his voice. "You've taken such excellent care of them." Emma introduced Max, whose calm demeanor immediately put Mr. Patterson at ease. As the man knelt to greet each puppy individually, Emma watched closely, noticing his tenderness mixed with quiet sadness. Her heart ached in sympathy, imagining the difficulty of letting go. "They've truly become part of my family," Emma admitted quietly, her voice thick with sincerity. "I promise, if you'd allow it, they'll always have a home filled with love and happiness." Mr. Patterson studied her thoughtfully before speaking. "My dear, seeing them now so joyful and loved reassures me greatly. My health has made caring for them impossible, but knowing they're here, with you and Max, gives me peace." Emma felt immense relief and gratitude, though she sensed the man's inner turmoil. "You're always welcome to visit," she assured him earnestly. "They'll never forget you." He nodded gently, touched by her words. "Thank you, Emma. Perhaps I'll visit occasionally to watch them grow. They couldn't have found a better place." In the weeks following Mr. Patterson's visit, Emma's home settled into a comfortable, lively rhythm. She named the puppies Scout, Daisy, and Willow, each perfectly suited to their distinct personalities. Scout, endlessly curious and adventurous; Daisy, sweet-tempered and affectionate; and Willow, calm and wise beyond her age, all blossomed under Max's patient guidance. Emma's bond with Max deepened even further, gratitude for his instincts and gentle heart filling her daily life with happiness. She marveled frequently at the incredible gift he had unknowingly given her by finding those puppies hidden beneath the bed and tucked away in her closet. Yet, just as Emma was beginning to believe life had settled into a pleasant routine, Max once again showed signs of restlessness. Late one evening, as she relaxed with a book in the living room, Max began pacing anxiously near the back door, his ears perked, eyes alert. "What is it now, boy?" Emma asked, a touch of amused exasperation in her voice, though curiosity quickly took hold. Max scratched insistently at the door, whining softly. Emma rose reluctantly, opening the door slowly, peering out into the dark yard. At first, she saw nothing unusual. But suddenly, Max sprinted toward the far corner of the yard, barking excitedly. Following quickly, Emma discovered Max circling around something in the grass. Approaching carefully, she knelt and gasped softly. A small kitten, thin and frightened, crouched low in the grass, eyes wide with fear. "Max," Emma whispered, hardly believing her eyes. "What exactly have you gotten us into now?" Max wagged his tail enthusiastically, clearly proud of himself, nudging the trembling kitten gently with his nose. Emma sighed, laughing softly to herself, understanding this was yet another turn their adventure had taken. Gently scooping the tiny kitten into her arms, she carried it inside, instantly realizing the puppies were now curiously waiting by the door, eager to greet their newest guest. "Looks like we've added another unexpected member," she announced with affectionate resignation, settling the kitten into a warm blanket near the fireplace. Max watched closely, lying protectively nearby. Emma knew her quiet life in Willowbrook had shifted into something entirely unpredictable and beautifully vibrant. And she couldn't have been happier. With each passing day, the house grew livelier, the kitten adjusting quickly to its rambunctious canine siblings. Emma found herself juggling new responsibilities, veterinary visits, and playful chaos, yet felt a deep, fulfilling joy in every moment. But even amid the happiness, Emma felt lingering curiosity about how all these creatures kept appearing in her life. The more she thought about it, the more she suspected a deeper mystery hidden in Willowbrook, something gently nudging lost animals toward her home. Determined to uncover the secret, Emma began casually chatting with townspeople, gently probing for similar experiences. She learned of several stories, each featuring unexpected animal arrivals in strange places around town. Her fascination grew daily, prompting Emma to consider more deliberate action. One bright morning, she set out with Max and the puppies, and even the kitten secured in a small carrier, deciding to explore deeper into Willowbrook's wooded outskirts. Max seemed particularly eager, guiding Emma confidently down winding paths she had seldom traveled before. The puppies bounded playfully behind, excited by the new sights and smells, their boundless energy contagious. Eventually, they reached a small clearing, partially hidden by dense trees. In the center stood an old cabin, its wooden exterior weathered yet inviting. Emma paused, curiosity surging within her. The cabin seemed deserted, but somehow friendly, beckoning them closer. "Max," she said softly, excitement and nervousness mingling in her voice. "Is this what you've been trying to show me all along?" Max barked softly in reply, his expression serious, yet gentle. Emma knew instantly they'd found something significant. She took a cautious step forward, her heart racing in anticipation of the answers that might lie ahead. Emma stood silently before the old cabin, the air thick with anticipation. The small wooden structure, hidden deep in Willowbrook's quiet forest, held an air of mystery and history that intrigued her immensely. Max remained at her side, poised and calm, his watchful eyes fixed intently on the cabin's weathered front door. The puppies, Scout, Daisy, and Willow, sensed the seriousness of the moment and sat quietly, tails wagging gently in curiosity. Even the kitten, nestled securely in the carrier, peered out with wide eyes, fascinated by their surroundings. With a steadying breath, Emma stepped cautiously forward, her shoes crunching softly on leaves that had gathered at the cabin's doorstep. She reached hesitantly toward the wooden door, noticing its old-fashioned handle, intricately carved with floral designs worn smooth by time. The door creaked softly as it opened, revealing a surprisingly tidy interior bathed in soft sunlight filtering through dusty windows. The cabin felt welcoming, yet mysterious, as though it had been patiently waiting for visitors. Wooden shelves lined the walls, filled with vintage books and trinkets that hinted at a life well lived. An old rocking chair rested near a cozy fireplace, draped with a crocheted blanket. Emma's curiosity deepened, wondering about the cabin's previous inhabitants. As she moved deeper inside, Max nudged her gently, guiding her toward a small wooden desk nestled in a corner. The surface was neatly arranged, with a faded photograph placed prominently among several notebooks. Emma carefully lifted the photograph, her eyes widening in surprise. The image depicted a gentle-looking elderly woman surrounded by animals, dogs, cats, rabbits, and even a small deer. Her smile was radiant and filled with warmth. "Who was she, Max?" Emma whispered softly, sensing this woman's story might be deeply connected to the strange animal appearances in Willowbrook. Max looked up at Emma knowingly, offering no answer other than his quiet, comforting presence. Emma carefully opened one of the notebooks, discovering pages filled with detailed entries, each documenting animals the woman had cared for or rescued. Entries described their personalities, health conditions, and eventual adoption into loving homes. Emma's heart stirred with admiration and curiosity. "Max, I think she might have been someone like us," she murmured thoughtfully, turning the pages reverently. "Someone who cared deeply about animals." Each entry was signed with the name Margaret, and Emma found herself drawn deeper into Margaret's world, absorbing stories of compassion, courage, and kindness. As Emma continued exploring the notebooks, she realized Margaret had dedicated her life to rescuing and protecting vulnerable animals around Willowbrook, often sheltering them in this very cabin. Emma sat down gently on the rocking chair, feeling an unexpected connection with Margaret, though she'd never known her personally. Max lay quietly at her feet, seemingly pleased by her discovery, while the puppies explored the room eagerly, their tiny noses sniffing curiously at old rugs and furniture. Hours slipped by unnoticed as Emma immersed herself in Margaret's notes, each story deepening her appreciation for the woman's dedication. She read about animals appearing mysteriously in Margaret's life, just as they had in Emma's. Her heart quickened with excitement as she found an entry dated only weeks before the notebooks abruptly ended, describing 3 golden puppies born during a fierce storm, the same pups now happily playing nearby. "These must be the ones," Emma whispered softly, glancing toward Scout, Daisy, and Willow. "But how did they end up with us?" Max barked quietly, his expressive eyes filled with gentle encouragement, urging her onward. Continuing to leaf through the notebooks, Emma discovered references to a small network of people Margaret had established throughout Willowbrook, individuals quietly dedicated to helping animals in need. Her heart soared with hope, realizing she wasn't alone. Determined to learn more, Emma decided to seek out some of Margaret's contacts. Carefully gathering the notebooks and photograph, she left the cabin with Max and the others trailing behind. Her mind raced with possibilities, eager to uncover how Margaret's mission had quietly continued even after her passing. Back at home, Emma meticulously cataloged her findings, mapping out names, places, and dates she'd noted from Margaret's records. Over the following days, she visited Willowbrook residents Margaret had frequently mentioned, quickly discovering each had their own touching stories of animal rescue. One afternoon she met Eleanor, a retired schoolteacher who greeted her warmly. "Margaret changed many lives, including mine," Eleanor shared, pouring tea in her cozy kitchen. "She taught us that animals find us when we need them most. Perhaps Margaret's spirit guided those puppies straight to you." Emma found comfort and inspiration in Eleanor's words. She continued meeting others who'd known Margaret, each conversation reaffirming Emma's belief that she'd been chosen, in some inexplicable way, to carry on Margaret's work. Soon, Willowbrook's community rallied enthusiastically behind Emma's growing vision. Local volunteers helped renovate Margaret's cabin, transforming it into a bright, welcoming animal sanctuary. Word spread quickly, and donations poured in from townspeople eager to support the heartfelt cause. Emma felt immense gratitude for their generosity and support, deeply moved by the collective embrace of Margaret's legacy. Max, Scout, Daisy, Willow, and the playful kitten thrived alongside the project, becoming beloved ambassadors for the sanctuary. Their cheerful presence attracted visitors, raising awareness and bringing joyful connections throughout the community. Yet Emma couldn't shake a persistent curiosity about the origins of the animals' mysterious appearances. Deep down, she felt there was still an important puzzle piece missing. Her instincts told her there was more to Margaret's story, a secret she hadn't fully uncovered. Determined to find answers, Emma returned to Margaret's cabin late one evening, accompanied only by Max. Under the soft glow of lantern light, she began examining the room again, seeking overlooked clues. After thorough searching, she noticed a subtle irregularity on the floorboards beneath the desk. Heart pounding, she carefully lifted the loose plank, revealing a hidden compartment containing a beautifully carved wooden box. Trembling with anticipation, Emma opened it gently. Inside lay several aged letters and another photograph. This one showing Margaret alongside a younger man, both smiling warmly. Intrigued, Emma unfolded the letters, discovering heartfelt correspondence between Margaret and the man named Robert. Their letters revealed a touching love story, intertwined deeply with their shared passion for animal rescue. Robert had vanished many years ago under mysterious circumstances, leaving Margaret heartbroken but determined to continue their work alone. Emma's emotions surged with empathy and fascination. Could this unresolved chapter somehow connect to the animals appearing mysteriously in Willowbrook? Was Robert's disappearance part of a deeper story yet to be uncovered? Returning home, Emma carefully studied every detail of the letters, becoming increasingly convinced Robert's story held vital answers. She committed herself fully to solving the mystery, certain that discovering the truth behind Margaret and Robert's past would help ensure the sanctuary's lasting legacy. Emma spent long nights researching town archives, meticulously piecing together clues from Margaret's letters and notes. Her growing dedication inspired more locals to get involved, each person contributing memories, documents, and anecdotes that helped Emma gradually unravel the mystery. Meanwhile, Max continued supporting Emma's journey with unwavering patience and love, reassuring her daily through his gentle presence. Scout, Daisy, Willow, and their feline companion filled each day with joyous distractions, reminding her of the deeper purpose driving their mission. Weeks passed, bringing Emma closer to answers she knew lay just beyond her grasp. Then, one quiet morning, she received an unexpected call from Eleanor, her voice unusually excited. "Emma, I found something important about Robert. You must come quickly." Emma's pulse quickened with anticipation as she hurried toward Eleanor's home, sensing they stood at the brink of discovering long-awaited truths. With every step, she felt a powerful connection to Margaret, whose life and love had unexpectedly become intertwined with Emma's own journey, guiding her toward a legacy rooted in kindness, courage, and compassion. Emma hurried anxiously to Eleanor's quaint, flower-filled cottage, nestled at the edge of Willowbrook, her heart beating rapidly with excitement. The mid-morning sun cast gentle warmth over the charming neighborhood, as Max trotted faithfully beside her, matching her brisk pace. She couldn't help but wonder what revelation awaited them. Eleanor's voice had sounded more animated than Emma had ever heard, stirring her imagination with possibilities. When they arrived, Eleanor was already waiting by her front door, clearly eager to share her discovery. "Come in quickly, dear," Eleanor beckoned, waving Emma inside enthusiastically. Max followed closely, immediately settling himself comfortably beside the sofa, sensing this visit was important. "Emma, you won't believe what I found," Eleanor began excitedly, eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "I was sorting through some old boxes in my attic. Honestly, I'd forgotten all about them, and I stumbled across something remarkable." Eleanor carefully lifted an old leather-bound album from a small wooden table. Its worn cover spoke of countless moments preserved lovingly through the years. Eleanor opened it gently, revealing faded but cherished photographs, each meticulously placed within protective pages. Emma leaned forward eagerly, her curiosity heightened. "What exactly did you find?" she asked softly, almost reverently. "These photos," Eleanor said gently, "were taken by my father many years ago at Willowbrook's annual community fair. It was always a joyful event, bringing townsfolk together. But look here." Eleanor pointed carefully to one particular photograph, her finger lightly resting near a familiar face. Emma gasped softly. It was Margaret, much younger but unmistakably recognizable, smiling radiantly alongside Robert. The man beside her was tall and cheerful, with a twinkle of mischief and warmth in his eyes. He held a small puppy affectionately in his arms, laughing as Margaret playfully patted its head. Their obvious love and shared joy practically leaped from the photograph. "That's definitely Robert," Emma murmured, tracing the smiling faces with her fingertips. "Do you think this fair might have clues about what happened to him?" "Precisely," Eleanor nodded earnestly. "My father often mentioned how Robert disappeared shortly after the fair one year. No one knew what happened. He simply vanished. Margaret searched tirelessly, but eventually moved forward alone, pouring all her love into helping animals." Emma absorbed this thoughtfully. "The fair could be significant," she mused aloud. "Maybe something occurred there that led to his disappearance." "Exactly my thought," Eleanor agreed. "If we could find people who remember that particular fair, perhaps they might recall something helpful." Fueled by newfound determination, Emma spent the following days tracking down longtime Willowbrook residents, gently coaxing stories from their memories. She visited local gathering spots, the diner, library, and community center, engaging older townsfolk in nostalgic conversations. Many remembered Robert fondly, but most admitted confusion about his sudden disappearance. One rainy afternoon, while browsing through historical records at Willowbrook's modest library archives, Emma discovered a newspaper clipping dated shortly after Robert's disappearance. Her eyes widened as she read the headline, her pulse quickening. "Beloved Willowbrook resident missing. Search efforts intensify." The article detailed how Robert had been last seen near the fairgrounds, reportedly helping an injured animal during a late-night thunderstorm. Searches had revealed nothing, eventually ending without resolution. Emma's heart ached deeply for Margaret, understanding how painful this unanswered mystery must have been. Emma showed the article to Jenna, her co-worker at the library, who thoughtfully suggested, "Maybe the animal Robert was helping has some connection to this." "Perhaps finding out what kind of animal it was could give us more clues?" Agreeing wholeheartedly, Emma delved further into the archives, hoping for additional details. Hours passed in focused research until finally, in an obscure town journal entry, she uncovered a single crucial detail. Robert had reportedly been aiding a frightened golden retriever found wandering near the fairgrounds during that stormy night. Emma's breath caught sharply. Could this somehow relate to Max and the puppies? Her mind raced with possibilities, a surge of excitement fueling her resolve. Determined to follow this new lead, Emma returned to Margaret's cabin, carefully searching through Margaret's extensive notes, hoping for mention of this specific incident. After painstaking effort, she discovered a brief, emotional reference Margaret had made years after Robert vanished. Today marks another year since Robert disappeared, lost while helping a frightened golden retriever in the storm. Sometimes I think that dog was his guardian, leading him away to somewhere only he could go. Maybe someday, they'll find their way back. Emma sat quietly, absorbing Margaret's poignant words, feeling tears gently sting her eyes. "Is it possible, Max?" she whispered softly, glancing toward her faithful companion, whose gentle eyes watched her carefully. "Could you be connected somehow?" Max thumped his tail gently, nudging Emma reassuringly with his nose, as if affirming her question. Eager for answers, Emma visited Dr. Harper the next day, explaining her theory. Dr. Harper listened intently, her face thoughtful. "It's possible Max is descended from that dog," Sandra acknowledged carefully. "Goldens are loyal, deeply intuitive dogs. Perhaps Max's instincts have drawn you toward completing something that started long ago." Emma pondered this deeply, the weight of possibility both thrilling and overwhelming. If Max truly has a connection to Robert, perhaps he's helping me finish something Robert couldn't, she mused quietly. Dr. Harper smiled warmly. "Emma, I've seen animals lead people to incredible journeys before. Follow your heart and trust Max's instincts." Re-energized, Emma began systematically searching areas around the fairgrounds, hoping some overlooked clue from Robert's last night might emerge. With Max's nose diligently sniffing each trail, they explored tirelessly. One crisp autumn morning, Max suddenly became agitated, pulling Emma urgently toward a densely wooded section adjacent to the grounds. "Max, what is it?" Emma asked nervously, sensing his excitement. Max barked sharply, leading Emma to a hidden clearing, partially obscured by thick foliage. There, almost completely concealed beneath fallen branches and leaves, lay remnants of a rusted old metal crate. Emma knelt cautiously, brushing away debris. Her heart pounded fiercely as she discovered a worn, engraved metal tag still affixed to the crate's side, faintly reading, "Property of Willowbrook Fair." Her pulse quickened dramatically. Could this crate have belonged to Robert? Had he used it that night? The possibility seemed extraordinary yet tantalizingly real. Encouraged by the discovery, Emma carefully examined the area further, eventually uncovering an old, weathered leather collar half buried nearby. With trembling fingers, she lifted it gently, revealing faint initials etched into the leather. R and M. "Robert and Margaret," Emma whispered softly, emotion swelling deeply within her. This was theirs. Max wagged his tail encouragingly, confirming they'd indeed found something significant. Emma felt deeply moved, understanding that somehow this place had held deep meaning for Robert and Margaret. Returning home, she carefully documented her findings, determined to piece together the full story. She shared discoveries with Eleanor and other townsfolk, hoping to jog further memories or insights. Soon, Willowbrook buzzed with renewed excitement, residents eagerly joining Emma's quest, driven by shared nostalgia and heartfelt curiosity. Each discovery deepened the community's emotional connection to Margaret's legacy, strengthening bonds between neighbors as they embraced this shared journey. Yet, despite progress, Emma felt she still lacked crucial answers. Her nights became restless, dreams filled with Robert and Margaret's smiling faces and the gentle presence of golden retrievers. She sensed strongly that answers lay just beyond her reach, and that Max somehow held the key to uncovering them. Every morning, she awoke determined, grateful for the unwavering support of her animals and community. Each day brought them closer, yet mysteries persisted, pulling Emma forward with irresistible force, assuring her that the truth about Robert's disappearance and Margaret's remarkable life awaited her persistence and courage. In the following days, Willowbrook buzzed with anticipation and curiosity as more residents became invested in uncovering the truth behind Robert's mysterious disappearance. Emma found herself at the center of this growing community effort, deeply moved by how Margaret's story had resonated so strongly with everyone. Every interaction she had, at the library, the local diner, and even during casual encounters on the street, was filled with support, warmth, and encouragement. Emma poured countless hours into meticulously cataloging each clue, spending late nights piecing together timelines and potential connections. Max remained her steadfast companion through it all, never far from her side, offering his quiet strength and comforting presence. Scout, Daisy, and Willow, along with the playful kitten, seemed to sense the growing excitement and added a joyful backdrop to the intense investigative efforts. Determined to dig deeper into the mystery, Emma decided to revisit Margaret's cabin, sensing she might have missed something important during her earlier searches. Early one bright morning, accompanied once more by Max, she set off down the familiar path into the woods. The air felt crisp, rich with the earthy aroma of autumn leaves, making the walk pleasant despite Emma's inner tension. Upon reaching the cabin, she took a careful moment to absorb its peaceful surroundings, the silence only broken by the gentle rustle of leaves and distant bird calls. The cabin felt welcoming, bathed in soft sunlight filtering through the trees, but an underlying sense of unresolved mystery lingered in the quiet air. Inside, Emma examined every shelf, drawer, and hidden space with renewed determination. She meticulously sifted through Margaret's books, photographs, and memorabilia, hoping to find overlooked clues. Hours slipped by unnoticed until she stumbled across a small, leather-bound journal tucked discreetly behind a stack of old books. The journal's edges were worn, indicating frequent use, suggesting it might contain significant personal insights. Heart racing with anticipation, Emma opened the journal gently, discovering carefully penned entries by Margaret herself, filled with emotional reflections on her life, Robert's disappearance, and her unwavering dedication to animal welfare. Emma felt deeply moved by Margaret's intimate thoughts, struck by the depth of love and loss woven through every page. One particular entry caught her attention sharply. Today, another storm rolled in, reminding me painfully of the night Robert vanished. I still believe he discovered something remarkable that night, a secret so powerful it took him away. He always believed animals were guides, sent to lead us toward hidden truths. Perhaps he followed that golden retriever to a destiny I cannot yet understand. Someday, someone might uncover the meaning of his journey. Emma's pulse quickened dramatically as she read and reread Margaret's words. Could Robert have indeed discovered something significant that night? Was it possible he'd deliberately followed that dog, believing it would lead him to an important revelation? Her thoughts raced, considering the implications. Emma now firmly believed that Robert's disappearance was not merely an accident, but part of something bigger. She began wondering if there was more to Willowbrook's animal mysteries than simply coincidence. Returning home, Emma shared the journal with Eleanor, who was equally fascinated. Margaret believed deeply in connections between people and animals, Eleanor explained gently. She always felt they guided us to important moments. Perhaps Robert discovered exactly that. Emma nodded thoughtfully. But what could have been so significant that he never returned? That, Eleanor replied softly, is precisely what we must discover. With renewed urgency, Emma delved back into historical records, searching meticulously for unusual events or phenomena around the time of Robert's disappearance. Hours spent in Willowbrook's archives eventually revealed a brief but intriguing mention of mysterious lights seen in the sky above the fairgrounds on the night Robert vanished. Emma's curiosity surged intensely. Could these lights have been related? Was Robert investigating something extraordinary? Determined, Emma sought out elderly residents who might recall witnessing the strange event. Conversations around town soon led her to Arnold Bennett, a longtime Willowbrook resident who vividly remembered the incident. "Oh yes," Arnold recalled earnestly, sitting comfortably on his porch one sunny afternoon. "Many saw those lights. Quite spectacular. But no one could explain them. Robert was fascinated. He always believed in things beyond simple explanations." "Do you recall if he spoke about following those lights, or the dog?" Emma inquired, her voice gentle yet urgent. Arnold paused thoughtfully. "Robert mentioned feeling compelled by something powerful, an instinct he couldn't ignore. I believe the dog led him toward those lights. After that, no one saw him again." Emma felt chills ripple through her, sensing a profound connection between Robert's disappearance and these mysterious lights. The puzzle felt increasingly complex, yet undeniably linked. With Arnold's memories fueling her resolve, Emma began exploring deeper into local folklore and reports of similar phenomena. She discovered legends from Willowbrook's past about a mysterious forest clearing, rumored to have mystical properties, attracting animals and guiding lost souls toward safety or purpose. Intrigued, Emma returned to the forest, carefully exploring beyond Margaret's cabin. Max seemed energized by this search, eagerly guiding Emma down unfamiliar paths deeper into the woods. The landscape gradually transformed into denser foliage and ancient trees towering majestically overhead. Eventually, they reached a secluded clearing that Emma had never seen before. The atmosphere felt serene, yet charged, as though something profoundly meaningful awaited discovery. Max moved confidently forward, approaching an enormous ancient oak tree standing prominently in the clearing's center. Emma examined the tree closely, noticing strange markings carved faintly into its bark. The symbols were intricate yet faded by time, depicting animals, dogs, cats, birds, interwoven with subtle, swirling patterns. She traced them gently with her fingertips, mesmerized. At the base of the tree, partially hidden beneath thick roots, Emma noticed an unusual stone engraved with delicate script. Carefully clearing away leaves and moss, she read aloud, "All who seek shall find, guided by paws that love without condition." Emma's breath quickened, sensing she'd discovered something profoundly significant. Max sat beside her quietly, his expression gentle yet attentive. "Could this be what Robert found that night?" she asked softly, emotion trembling in her voice. Max wagged his tail reassuringly, seemingly understanding. Intrigued, Emma documented the discovery carefully, resolving to investigate further. Over the following days, she shared the mysterious findings with Eleanor and others in Willowbrook, whose enthusiasm grew steadily, inspiring deeper community involvement. Volunteers began clearing trails, beautifying the forest paths around the sanctuary, and building informative displays detailing Margaret's legacy and Robert's mystery. Willowbrook's residents became captivated by the unfolding story, drawn together by shared curiosity and purpose. Town meetings buzzed with excited speculation about Robert's disappearance and the strange stone's significance. Emma felt increasingly supported, bolstered by the community's united interest. Yet, despite their efforts, Emma sensed crucial elements of the puzzle remained undiscovered. Her nights were filled with vivid dreams of Robert, Margaret, and golden retrievers guiding her deeper into the forest. She awoke each morning increasingly convinced that understanding this mystery was key to completing Margaret's legacy and fulfilling Robert's unfinished journey. Resolute, Emma intensified her searches, guided steadily by Max, whose intuition seemed stronger with every exploration. Their bond deepened profoundly, both aware they were part of something extraordinary. Late one evening, during another meticulous search near the engraved stone, Max suddenly became alert, barking urgently. Emma followed quickly, heart pounding as Max guided her down a hidden, nearly invisible path. The trail opened abruptly onto a breathtaking view, a secluded valley filled with vibrant wildflowers, tranquil streams, and astonishingly, groups of animals peacefully coexisting. Deer grazed calmly alongside rabbits, birds nested harmoniously, and dogs, many resembling Max and the puppies, roamed freely, playful and unafraid. Emma stood speechless, overwhelmed by the beauty and harmony before her. Max looked up knowingly, his eyes filled with deep wisdom and joy, clearly understanding the profound significance of their discovery. In awe, Emma realized this hidden valley was likely the destination Robert had sought long ago, guided by instinct and love. Could this secret sanctuary be the missing link, the final revelation needed to fully honor Margaret and Robert's incredible story? Feeling deeply connected to both the past and future, Emma knew she had uncovered something profoundly special. Yet, questions remained abundant. What exactly was this magical place? How had it remained hidden for so long? And how could she best protect and preserve its remarkable beauty? Resolved to explore this sanctuary further, Emma returned home filled with new determination. Each passing day brought deeper connections and heartwarming discoveries, strengthening her belief that Willowbrook held more secrets waiting patiently to be revealed. With Max and the community's support unwaveringly beside her, Emma felt ready to continue uncovering the extraordinary truths that Margaret's legacy had guided her toward. Emma's excitement grew steadily as preparations for Willowbrook's annual community fair progressed. The town was buzzing with activity, and volunteers poured their hearts into making the event memorable. The fairgrounds had been beautifully transformed, vibrant banners fluttered in the gentle breeze, and colorful booths lined the grassy field, awaiting eager visitors. Yet Emma remained distracted, her mind occupied by the deeper mysteries connecting Margaret, Robert, and the Valley Sanctuary. Each evening, she found herself drawn back to Margaret's cabin, spending hours poring over the journals and letters she'd uncovered, hoping for a hidden clue or revelation. One evening, as she sat absorbed in Margaret's writings, her phone rang unexpectedly. It was Jenna from the library, her voice bubbling with excitement. "Emma, you won't believe what just arrived. You need to come right away." Emma rushed to the library, curiosity swirling in her mind. When she arrived, Jenna led her quickly to the small reading room, where a weathered cardboard box rested on the table. "This was delivered anonymously," Jenna explained, eyes wide with anticipation. "I think it's connected to your mystery." Emma carefully opened the box, revealing a stack of aged envelopes tied together with delicate string. Her pulse quickened as she recognized Margaret's distinctive handwriting. "These must have been lost or hidden all these years," she whispered, gently unfolding the letters. The correspondence was deeply personal, chronicling the love story between Margaret and Robert, as well as their shared dream of establishing an animal sanctuary in Willowbrook. Emma's heart warmed as she read their heartfelt words, sensing the deep affection and unwavering determination that bound them. As she continued reading, Emma found a crucial detail. Margaret mentioned frequently how Robert had been researching hidden wildlife habitats near Willowbrook, convinced the local forest held places where animals instinctively sought refuge during storms and danger. One letter vividly described Robert's growing fascination. "He believes these animals know something we don't, a place safe from harm, hidden away where humans rarely venture. I think he might have found it, but he's determined to wait until he can show me in person." Emma felt chills as she read Margaret's words, convinced now more than ever that the secluded valley she'd discovered was indeed Robert's secret sanctuary. Yet, a lingering question haunted her. Why had Robert never returned? Determined to find answers before the community fair, Emma redoubled her efforts, gathering stories from older Willowbrook residents who shared fond memories of Margaret and Robert. Each conversation deepened her respect for the couple's unwavering dedication to animals, and Emma felt an increasing urgency to solve the mystery. 2 days before the fair, Emma received another surprise visitor, Mr. Patterson. He arrived unexpectedly, warmly greeting Emma and the animals who bounded joyfully around him. His visit was filled with gratitude and reflection. "Seeing these pups again, so joyful and loved, confirms my belief that you were meant to care for them," Mr. Patterson said softly, his eyes glistening with gentle emotion. "But, Emma, there's something else. I've remembered something important about Robert." Emma listened carefully, leaning forward eagerly. "Robert visited me shortly before he disappeared," Mr. Patterson recounted thoughtfully. "He was passionate, almost agitated, saying he'd found something incredible, something that would change how we understood animals. He spoke of a hidden valley, and he planned to take Margaret there after the fair." Emma's heart pounded, recognizing the significance of Mr. Patterson's words. "Did he say anything else?" Mr. Patterson nodded slowly. "Robert mentioned seeing those strange lights near the fairgrounds that night. He believed they were guiding him somehow. He seemed driven by something bigger than himself." Emma felt deeply moved by this revelation, understanding Robert's profound sense of purpose. After Mr. Patterson left, Emma couldn't sleep, her mind spinning with possibilities. She decided she must revisit the hidden valley immediately. Early the next morning, she set off with Max, Scout, Daisy, Willow, and the kitten in tow, carefully making their way through the dense forest trails. As they approached the clearing, Emma felt a sense of calm settle over her, the valley's beauty unfolding gently before them. Yet this visit felt different, charged with anticipation. Max led Emma confidently through the wildflowers and soft grass toward a section of forest she hadn't fully explored before. The puppies scampered joyfully, their excitement mirroring Emma's own. Suddenly, Max stopped, sniffing carefully at the base of a large boulder partially hidden by ivy. Emma knelt beside him, heart racing, and noticed faint etchings carved carefully into the stone surface. Clearing away vines and moss, she revealed symbols remarkably similar to those she'd found earlier near the oak tree. At the center was an inscription, weathered but clear enough to read, "To those who understand, the path will reveal itself." Emma pondered the meaning thoughtfully. Could there be another hidden trail nearby? Her pulse quickened as she began examining the surrounding area carefully, eventually discovering a narrow, winding path barely visible beneath fallen leaves. Eagerly, she followed Max down the new trail, feeling a deep certainty they were close to discovering something profoundly significant. The path twisted deeper into dense foliage, finally emerging onto a small, tranquil pond surrounded by lush greenery. Emma's breath caught sharply at the sight. Beside the pond stood a modest stone monument bearing two familiar names, Robert and Margaret. Emotion swelled within Emma as she approached carefully, reading the loving dedication engraved beneath their names. Their love built bridge between hearts, guided always by compassion and courage. She realized this spot was Robert's ultimate destination, his special place prepared lovingly for Margaret. Yet Margaret never saw it, Robert's disappearance preventing the reunion they'd planned. Overwhelmed by the bittersweet discovery, Emma knelt silently, deeply moved. Max sat beside her quietly, his gentle presence comforting and understanding. "This is what he wanted to show her," Emma whispered softly, her voice thick with emotion. This was their secret. As she absorbed the peaceful beauty surrounding her, Emma realized Robert's spirit still lived within this sanctuary, connected profoundly to the animals he loved. She felt a strong sense of responsibility to share this discovery with the community, to honor Margaret and Robert's legacy by preserving and protecting this special place. Returning home, Emma immediately began planning how to integrate this extraordinary revelation into Willowbrook's fair celebration. She shared the discovery with Eleanor and other volunteers who were deeply touched and inspired by the news. Together, they decided the fair would feature a special dedication ceremony honoring Margaret and Robert's extraordinary contributions. As preparations finalized, excitement throughout Willowbrook peaked. The day of the fair arrived sunny and vibrant, filling the town with cheerful energy and anticipation. Emma felt deep gratitude seeing townsfolk eagerly gather, moved by Margaret and Robert's inspiring story. The dedication ceremony was heartfelt and emotional, drawing tears and smiles from everyone attending. Emma shared Margaret and Robert's journey passionately, emphasizing their love, courage, and enduring legacy. As townspeople listened intently, she described the hidden valley and the secret sanctuary, promising to protect these extraordinary discoveries for future generations. The puppies played joyfully nearby, their presence reinforcing the power of Margaret and Robert's lasting legacy. Max sat proudly beside Emma, understanding deeply his essential role in guiding her toward these revelations. As the community celebrated late into the afternoon, Emma felt profoundly connected, not only to Margaret and Robert, but also to the greater Willowbrook family, united through compassion and purpose. Yet even amidst joyful celebration, she sensed their journey wasn't over. Important truths still waited to be uncovered, mysteries yet unresolved. As evening approached, Emma quietly resolved to continue her search, sensing more secrets lay waiting patiently in Willowbrook's gentle embrace. Guided always by Max's unwavering presence and the community's heartfelt support, she felt ready to continue discovering the extraordinary truths awaiting them all. Following the success of Willowbrook's community fair and the heartfelt dedication ceremony, Emma found herself immersed in a growing wave of support and enthusiasm from townspeople eager to protect and enhance the hidden sanctuary. Yet, despite the warmth and unity she experienced daily, a nagging sensation of unfinished business lingered persistently at the edges of her mind. Determined not to leave any stone unturned, Emma returned frequently to Margaret's cabin, spending long hours poring over journals and letters, searching intently for any overlooked clues that might explain more about Robert's disappearance. Each visit strengthened her bond with Margaret's memory, deepening her understanding of the woman who had unknowingly become her mentor and inspiration. One particularly chilly afternoon, as autumn transitioned gradually into winter, Emma discovered yet another intriguing passage within Margaret's writings. It mentioned Robert frequently exploring caves near the sanctuary, convinced that hidden within these natural shelters were secrets connected to the animal's unusual behavior during storms. Emma felt her excitement rise sharply. Caves had never been explored in detail around Willowbrook, as they were often considered unsafe and thus largely forgotten. But Robert's persistent fascination made her wonder if crucial clues lay concealed within them. Eager to explore this new lead, Emma consulted with local naturalists and historians, hoping to pinpoint the precise location of these caves. After days of careful planning and preparation, Emma set off early one clear morning, accompanied by Max, Scout, Daisy, Willow, and the kitten, now affectionately named Luna. Their small group ventured along a narrow forest trail Emma had mapped meticulously, guided by clues in Margaret's notes. As they moved steadily toward their destination, anticipation filled the air, mixing with a sense of quiet reverence for the journey ahead. Eventually, they reached a secluded hillside marked by dense brush and towering pines. Emma's careful observation revealed a partially obscured entrance into a cave hidden beneath a natural overhang. Her heart thumped with excitement and mild trepidation as she cleared away branches and leaves, creating enough space to enter safely. "Ready, Max?" she asked softly, meeting her loyal companion's steady gaze. Max wagged his tail reassuringly, confidently stepping forward into the cool darkness. Emma followed closely, switching on her flashlight to illuminate the cave's interior. The puppies hesitated briefly before scrambling after them, curiosity winning over caution. Luna remained snug in her carrier, eyes wide as they entered this unknown territory. The cave felt surprisingly welcoming, yet mysterious. Walls glistened faintly with moisture, their rough surfaces revealing fascinating mineral patterns. Emma moved cautiously, her flashlight beam sweeping carefully across the rocky surfaces, searching for anything unusual or significant. Gradually, the passage widened, opening into a larger chamber whose ceiling sparkled with natural crystal formations, creating an enchanting atmosphere. Emma gasped softly in awe, her breath visible in the cool air. Yet amid this natural beauty, something else caught her attention. A small alcove tucked into the far side of the chamber, barely noticeable at first glance. Heart pounding with renewed anticipation, Emma approached carefully, shining her flashlight into the alcove. She discovered a small wooden box resting undisturbed atop a stone shelf, clearly placed intentionally. She felt certain Robert had been here. Emma gently lifted the box, noting its craftsmanship resembled the one she'd found earlier beneath Margaret's cabin floorboards. With trembling hands, she opened it carefully, revealing a neatly folded letter resting inside. Holding her breath, Emma unfolded the fragile paper, instantly recognizing Robert's handwriting. "Margaret, if you find this letter, then fate has guided you here. I've discovered something extraordinary. A secret place where animals instinctively retreat, connected to the lights seen above Willowbrook. This cave is just the entrance. Deeper inside lies something I believe will forever change our understanding of animals and their instincts. Follow carefully, trust your heart, and you will find the truth. Always yours, Robert. Emma felt chills ripple through her, deeply moved by Robert's heartfelt words. The letter hinted strongly at something hidden even deeper within the cave, something profoundly meaningful that Robert had intended Margaret to see. Resolutely, Emma pressed forward with Max leading confidently, navigating deeper into the winding tunnels illuminated by her flashlight's steady beam. The puppies moved cautiously, sensing the gravity of their exploration, their playful demeanor subdued by awe and curiosity. As they ventured deeper, the cave's atmosphere shifted subtly, growing warmer and more inviting. Finally, after navigating several narrow passages, Emma found herself emerging into another large cavern, this one illuminated naturally by a softly glowing phosphorescence covering the walls, ceiling, and floor. The sight was breathtakingly beautiful, evoking an overwhelming sense of peace and serenity. Emma stood momentarily speechless, her companions similarly captivated by the magical ambiance surrounding them. In the cavern's center stood a natural stone pedestal, upon which rested another carefully sealed wooden box, slightly larger and intricately engraved. Emma approached reverently, sensing this was the culmination of Robert's journey. She opened the box slowly, revealing a detailed journal filled with meticulous entries and vivid sketches. Emma sat quietly, her heart racing as she read Robert's words. He described observing countless animals instinctively arriving in this cavern during storms, protected mysteriously by the phosphorescent minerals, which appeared to shield them from harm and calm their fears. Robert believed these minerals emitted an energy animals could sense instinctively, guiding them to safety. He described the lights seen above Willowbrook as connected somehow, theorizing they were manifestations of the energy source within these caves. Robert's journal also revealed his intent to study these phenomena extensively and share his findings with Margaret and the world. However, it abruptly ended, leaving unanswered the mystery of his final fate. Emma felt deeply moved, yet questions surged within her. Why had Robert never returned? What prevented him from completing his mission? Determined to understand fully, Emma examined the cavern more closely, seeking clues. After thorough investigation, she noticed another narrow tunnel leading away from the cavern. Max suddenly became alert, barking softly yet insistently, drawing Emma's attention. "Do you sense something, Max?" she asked carefully. Max wagged his tail firmly, guiding Emma toward the new passage. She followed cautiously, flashlight steady as they navigated carefully through winding tunnels, each step filled with anticipation. Finally, the tunnel widened once more, opening onto another large chamber where Emma immediately froze, heart racing dramatically. At the cavern's far end rested what appeared to be the remnants of an abandoned campsite. Robert's. Emma approached cautiously, discovering personal items, camping gear, notebooks, and supplies carefully stored and untouched for decades. Among these belongings lay another letter addressed to Margaret. "Dearest Margaret, I've stayed here to study these wonders further, but storms grow intense, making it difficult to return. If anything prevents my return, know I've found peace here, connected deeply to the animals we love. I trust someone will continue this journey. My love always, Robert." Emma felt tears blur her vision, profoundly touched by Robert's courage, dedication, and enduring love for Margaret. She understood he'd likely chosen to remain here willingly, believing deeply in the sanctuary's importance. Gently gathering the journals and sketches, Emma decided it was crucial to share these discoveries openly with Willowbrook. She knew Robert's profound findings deserved recognition and that the sanctuary needed protection. Back home, she shared the revelations with Eleanor and other trusted community members. Their reactions mirrored her own awe and respect, immediately committing themselves further to safeguarding and honoring Robert and Margaret's legacy. Emma dedicated herself tirelessly over subsequent weeks, carefully cataloging Robert's findings, ensuring the sanctuary's protection, and educating Willowbrook residents about this extraordinary discovery. The community embraced the mission wholeheartedly, united deeply by the profound story they'd collectively uncovered. Yet Emma felt there were still vital elements missing. Robert's final fate remained uncertain. Her instincts told her the sanctuary had yet to reveal all its secrets. With Max faithfully beside her, Emma continued exploring the caves, determined that every mystery must be solved, every secret gently uncovered. Guided by love, courage, and compassion, Emma pressed onward, knowing Robert and Margaret's remarkable story was far from finished. Together, with her beloved companions and the unwavering support of Willowbrook's community, she felt deeply prepared for whatever incredible truths awaited their continued exploration. Emma felt the weight of the discovery settle deep within her. The cave, the journals, and Robert's final words had all led her here, but she knew she wasn't finished yet. Something still remained unanswered, something she could feel pressing against her heart. The sanctuary was real. The lights had a purpose, and Robert had chosen to stay. But there was more to understand before she could let go of the mystery entirely. Max sat beside her, watching her carefully as she traced the worn edges of Robert's last letter. He had spent his final days in this very cave, studying the phenomenon he had been so passionate about. But why had no one ever found him? Had he never attempted to leave? Or had something prevented him? Determined to bring closure to the story, Emma and Max set out once again, this time more methodically searching the hidden valley for any remaining clues. The puppies, now more comfortable with the area, followed playfully, while Luna perched contentedly in Emma's backpack, her little head peeking out curiously. Emma retraced every step, paying close attention to the ground, the trees, the walls of the cave, anywhere Robert could have left a final message. As they ventured deeper into the valley, Max suddenly stopped. His body stiffened, his nose twitching, and he let out a low, alert bark. Emma's heart pounded as she followed his gaze to a small crevice in the rock face. It was narrow, but just wide enough to slip through. Max's ears perked forward, his tail stiff, waiting for her to decide. Emma took a deep breath and stepped inside, her flashlight casting long shadows along the walls. The air was cool and still, the silence heavy. She moved carefully, eyes scanning every surface for any sign of Robert's presence. Then, as her beam passed over the far wall, she saw it, a message etched faintly into the rock. To those who follow, the truth is in the light. Emma ran her fingers over the inscription, her mind racing. Robert had left this here, but what had he meant? She turned to Max, who sniffed at the ground, then suddenly turned and trotted toward the entrance again. Emma followed, stepping into the bright sunlight. As she did, a shimmer of color caught her eye. At first, she thought she was imagining it, but then she saw it again. A soft, radiant glow emanating from the ground itself. The phosphorescent minerals Robert had written about weren't just in the cave. They extended into the very valley. The energy he had theorized about was real, and it had been guiding the animals here for generations. Emma suddenly understood what Robert had found. This wasn't just a place of refuge for animals. It was something deeper, something instinctual, a connection between the natural world and the unseen forces that moved within it. Robert had spent his final days learning from the valley, But he had never left because, in his mind, there was no need to. He had become part of its story, living alongside the animals he had always sought to understand. He had chosen this place as his home, not out of loss, but out of purpose. Emma felt tears sting her eyes as she let the truth settle over her. Robert's disappearance had not been a tragedy. It had been a calling. And now, she knew exactly what she needed to do. She spent the following weeks working tirelessly, gathering the town's support to officially protect the valley and its caves. With the journals and Robert's research as evidence, the town council approved the creation of a conservation area, ensuring the land would remain untouched and open for future generations to learn from. Word of the discovery spread, and soon, people from nearby towns came to hear about the sanctuary, not just as a place for animals, but as a symbol of the unbreakable bond between humans and nature. Emma worked with local schools to create programs that taught children about Robert and Margaret's mission, ensuring their legacy lived on. Through it all, Max remained by her side, the puppies growing into strong, confident dogs who now greeted every visitor with wagging tails and playful energy. Luna had claimed a permanent spot in Emma's home, curling up each night beside Max, as if she had always belonged there. One evening, as the sun dipped low over Willowbrook, Emma sat by the valley's entrance, watching the gentle glow of the minerals in the fading light. Max rested beside her, his head on her lap, his warmth a comforting presence. "We did it, Max," she murmured, stroking his fur. "Robert's story is finally complete." Max let out a contented sigh, as if he too understood that their journey had come full circle. Emma closed her eyes, letting the peace of the valley wash over her. The sanctuary had been found, the mystery had been solved, and Margaret and Robert's dream had become reality. And in the heart of it all, guided by pause that had never wavered, she had found something even greater: home.